Hello everyone, I'm Shalika De Silva. On behalf of Samadhi Buddhist Foundation, I would like to welcome all of you to the month of September Clarity of Mind through Mindfulness session. Today's session is based on Addhittana Parami, determination. Now I would like to invite Venerable Chandarathana Thero to explain and guide us on how we can develop and practice Addhittana Parami to the fullest from this life. Teruvan Sarnai Bante.
So actually, today I'm conducting this program while being at Kalalgoda, and so let me share the screen. Okay, give me a second. Yeah, as Shalika mentioned, today we hope to discuss on determination, and it is very interesting and very important topic when we consider our whole life. And determinations are not only actually we have to talk only in the spiritual part, but in the mundane life, this is also quite useful. Say if you are continuing your studies, definitely you have to have a kind of a determination. I need to work hard. I need to pass this exam. So as maybe as young kids or as young people or as a professional, you may have to go through various exams, and on those situations also probably you all can remember how you sat for an exam and how you have determined to get up early and do some studies and maybe to participate in the various say classes and to determine, okay, I need to do it well. So likewise, and in these mundane activities actually this is quite useful even in our education. Suppose you are a person who is more into the sports, then they are also say you are having kind of determinations. Now recently Sri Lanka won certain prizes in certain areas in the sports, and probably they are when they are explaining their various experiences what they have gone through, so now they are having some determinations. Okay, we need to get the World Cup, we need to go to this thing, we need to go to that thing. So likewise various determinations, so these sportsmen are having. So if you are into that areas, actually it is quite necessary to have such kind of determinations, because those determinations are the ones driving us. Because it is the human nature is that we need some sort of a motivation, kind of a driving force, then only we are maybe very much like performing well. So that's why our parents may be trying to inculcate kind of an ambition in ourselves. Okay, you have to be a good person, you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a say teacher. So likewise, so they are trying to inculcate certain ambitions in our mind, so we are trying to keep that as our target, as an objective in our mind, and as a result of that we are quite determined. So this determination is something again and again coming up in the mind, so that it is very much like kind of a guideline. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. So you are keeping it as a kind of a target in your life, so you are quite determined to do it. So therefore human mind can be trained like that. Otherwise actually if you don't have any kind of a determination, so your life doesn't have a proper direction, doesn't have any kind of a way of view or a way of looking at things. Rather, when you have kind of a strong determination fairly deeply rooted in your mind, so you are always achieving various things, you are always behaving in a certain manner, so that it will be more conducive to achieve that determination. So therefore determinations is quite useful. And say if you want to be wealthy, at the moment suppose you are not doing well, say you are sort of in a bankrupt situation. Now as in Sri Lanka now they are talking that they are in bankruptcy, but people have to be determined, the government have to be determined, whoever the officials have to be determined, okay, within this particular period of time, okay, I have to go through these kind of reconciliations or certain preparations. With that we are quite determined, okay, after say couple of years we are going to achieve it. So as a nation also we need to have kind of a determination. Now I can remember certain countries. So when a new president or who someone is coming, so they are quite determined. Okay, within this period of time, we are going to achieve this. Okay, as a department, suppose you are a department head, then you are quite determined. Okay, within this period of time, during my uh, period, okay, I'm going to achieve this. So you are keeping as a kind of a determination. And sometimes you have seen your mission statement. So this mission is what we are going to achieve. So likewise, in the everyday life also, we can recognize you are making certain determinations. So if you want to take a promotion, say if you want to advance your career, then there also you need to have certain determinations. Otherwise you might simply stagnate on the same place for many years. But if you are determined to further sort of enhance your career, to improve yourself, there are also certain determinations are very much like driving us towards the goal. And now if we come to the other side, now as human beings, so we have to go through certain difficult situations, certain hurdles, and on our way where are various difficult calamities can happen. So on such situation, how we are again rebuilding us. Now probably you can remember in Sri Lanka in 2004, we all faced with the real tragedy because of the tsunami. But again, the country has to come up. Again, the country has to determine, okay, we are going to again build up ourselves. It's true that we have gone through certain difficult situations, fine, but I am now determined to achieve, to resurrect. Now, maybe in your life also, certain sometimes maybe certain collapses can happen. Say your loved ones pass away, your loved one faced with certain tragic situations, maybe you yourself end up with certain difficult situations, maybe say some terminal diseases. So likewise, so on such situations, how are we going to build up again? How are we going to raise up again? So that is where actually the determination is coming to the front. So you are keeping it as a kind of a firm idea, as a firm say thought in your mind again and again. That is the direction that you are always moving towards. And again say uh, when you are doing various other activities, still you have that in your mind. Okay, I am determined to do that. So you are always kind of making a reflection in order to verify whether my current activity is really beneficial to achieve that my determination. So quite determined persons are the ones who are basically continuing that and achieving whatever the goal they are desired to, and that is sometimes quite necessary. And when it comes to the spiritual side, now we are going little detail. Actually, so we can consider this whole subject in three areas mainly. So how one can protect morality, and then how one can develop concentration, and how one can develop wisdom. In these three areas, if we consider morality, now say you are not that considering about various virtues, ethics, and your life is somewhat like say going on this direction, that direction, a little bit careless. And later, suppose you come across Buddha's teaching, maybe you come across a good person, a teacher. So likewise, he's little now concerned about your behavior, and he's giving certain instructions. Okay, you got to stop killing animals, you got to stop say stealing, you got to stop sexual misconduct, you have to be mindful about your word, you should not lie, and you should now stop taking intoxicants. Now these are sometimes would be difficult for a person who is quite used to do that. Now suppose there is an alcoholic, and if the doctor asks, okay, you got to stop, otherwise you'll be end up with maybe terminal cancer. Now how he is going to stop it? Now a kind of a strong determination has to be kept in the mind. Now suppose you are going through certain unfavorable or unacceptable certain relationships, okay, certain family members or your parents or someone would sort of advise you, you got to stop it. Now certain desires may arise in our mind to continue, but you have to have a kind of a strong determination to stop it. And you have to see the repercussions, you have to see the consequences going to happen, and accordingly you are now determined, okay, I am going to stop it, I am going to take that decision, I am going to stop this affair, it's not suitable. So likewise in our spiritual life also, when we are taking ourselves into the seal to our morality, sometimes we have various shortcomings in our life, in our character, and we need to honestly recognize them. As I mentioned, okay, I am going through a wrong relationship. So when I understood that, or someone else has informed me, advised me, or requested me, so I have to have a kind of honest reflection, okay, I'm going to stop it. So we have to keep it in mind again and again, so I'm going to stop it. Or suppose, as I mentioned, say if you are continuing a kind of a bad habit, say you are used to say lie, you are not much considerate about your words. On such situation, okay, you are hearing the Buddha's words and you understand, okay, I have to be truthful. Then you have to have a strong determination, okay, whenever I am talking, I have to be mindful of what I am talking. I have to maintain this truthfulness. It is quite important. So now you are determining, so you are making a strong resolution in your mind, so that your say verbal activities are quite in line with your determination. Say you are little bit cheating in certain activities, and you understand that, okay, I'm not that truthful, I'm little bit dishonest in certain activities, so let me correct myself, let me take myself little bit advanced, quite honest. I need to develop that kind of an honesty in myself. So it's a kind of a strong, honest reflection, determination one can do, and accordingly one can very much like now onwards, okay, I'm not going to do it. So it's a kind of a strong determination that we have to make. Now, say you are only used to take five precepts. Now, assume that you are capable of doing that. Now you have a strong determination. Okay, let me try 8 precepts. Let me stop a little bit of entertainment, at least for a couple of days. Assume that you are a little bit addicted to say nowadays maybe to YouTube, social media, maybe something not that useful. And suppose now you take a strong determination, okay, I'm for this, at least for this period I'm going to stop it. So these things are not that always that someone else has to tell us, but we as say maybe adults, so we can recognize what are the shortcomings available in my character, how I can uplift myself. So what are the things that I am unnecessarily continuing, where I have sort of habituated onto certain activities which are quite detrimental to my life. So these are something that we can honestly reflect. And once we recognize something, once we found something that I have to overcome, now we have to take a strong determination to overcome that. Otherwise it's quite difficult. If you take it quite easily and little lightly, it's very unlikely that we are going to do it. But if we make a quite strong determination, then that actually helps, that really very much like confirm yourself, you are adhering to that, you are trying to adhere to that particular principle, that kind of a target, that kind of an achievement, that kind of a determination. And now suppose you are trying to continue your say morality, but now a little bit more advanced level. Assume that you are trying to stop certain distractions happening through your eyes, through your ears, so you are trying to a little bit more restraining yourself. Previously you are not that restrained, so you watch the movies or whatever things as much as you like, you allow music to overwhelm you as much as you like, so you simply allow sensual gratification to continue as you like. But later suppose you understood, okay, it is not that good, I need a little bit concern about it, I need to restrain myself. So likewise, once you recognize that sort of restrainment, that I need to have certain sense restrainment, okay, we have to we determine, okay, I'm no more going to watch these kind of movies, I'm no more going to listen to much music, I'm no more going to participate on certain parties. So likewise, we have to have that kind of a moral upliftment through determinations. Okay, now on this particular, say, per day, I'm going to a particular place, I'm going to observe 8 precepts. I'm trying to see whether I can adhere to 8 precepts for one day. So these are certain initiations that we can take based on determination. And when we have taken that, also we have to keep it in our mind. Now, say I am going to stop watching, say, movies. Now we have to keep it in mind again and again. You have to be fairly concerned about it. Merely taken determination is not enough. Now, once we take a determination, we have to try to adhere to it. We have to implement it. Now, suppose you are quite determined to develop some samadhi, concentration. There also now we need to determine. Determine in the sense, okay, currently my mind is not that good, not that pure. It's always overwhelmed by various hindrances. So we recognize it. Okay, it's time to time my mind is driven by various defilements. Now I better restrain it. I better little bit purify it. I need to have some mental calmness, some tranquility that you recognize. As a result of that, now assume that you are determined to participate in a retreat, participate in whatever the activity which is giving you more mental calmness, mental tranquility. On such situation, again you are determined. Now, suppose you are determined to uh, implement a daily practice, a daily routine. Say I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. So now you have to wake up at 4 a.m. And assume that you were not used to that, but from tomorrow onwards, okay, I'm going to meditate. Say I'm going to practice walking meditation early morning. So I have to get up early morning. Now you keep the alarm and you are trying to do it. So you have to be determined to do that. Not just one day, maybe for many days, many months, many years. Okay, you are quite determined to do that. And suppose that in the evening you are keeping certain time for yourself to practice, and without sort of misusing that for something else. Now I have to determine, keep the determination. Okay, I have decided to keep this particular time for my spiritual practice, so let me implement that. So there is no one else coming and sort of asking you whether you are going to do it. Rather, you yourself have to have this determination internally. So we have to have that maturity. Okay, I have determined, I have understood that this is quite important. Let me decide from say 4 to 5, I'm going to practice walking and sitting. So we have to have that strong determination. Then only we can implement. And again, suppose you are participating in a retreat. Assume that it is 10 days retreat. Now, the first few days would be quite difficult because you are not used to sit cross-legged, and you are not used to the environment, and you don't have much facilities. So maybe just the basic facilities you have, and probably the food is quite ordinary food. Assume that you are a person who is more going after certain delicious food, but in the retreat probably you may have the basic food, and the people are also not that talking to you. So simply you have to have your own seclusion. So likewise, so these situations we have to cope up. And again, we need to understand, okay, I am now determined to participate in this retreat. There are certain difficult situations. Okay, the food is not that good. The the lodgings also maybe not that good. I have to maybe share with another person. But my determination is to cultivate the mind. These other little things I don't need to take so seriously. I have to bear with this. So it's in a way we can couple it with the patience as well. So when we are practicing, say, morality, when we are practicing even the mental development, concentration, maybe in a retreat environment, okay, there are maybe various other distractions, other things which are really bothering us, but we have to determine, okay, I have maintained a determination, I am going to develop concentration, I am going to develop vipassana. That's why I ended up in this enrolled in this retreat. Let me continue it. Now suppose you are sitting. While you are sitting, probably now start body aches, maybe different pains, aches now going to start. Now rather than immediately get up, now we need to continue. If it is a 1 hour session, for example, it will be very difficult, because if you are not used to sitting, and 1 hour sitting would be very very difficult. But slowly you are determined, okay, I'm not going to change my posture immediately. At least for a couple of minutes I am trying to endure it. After that only I am going to change the posture. So likewise, you are sort of strengthening yourself, you are enhancing your skills, capabilities, by little bit stretching yourself. It is not that always that as human beings we can simply be, kind of malleable and allowing things to happen on the best way. We can't expect like that. Okay, I am determined to participate in this retreat. I am continuing the 10 days, irrespective of whatever the challenges going to meet. So those challenges, little challenges, now I am a little bit bearing. Now we are continuing the retreat. Maybe while walking, probably you are not that used to walk, and maybe again aches and pains happen, and again it's a quite boring activity. And how are we determined, okay, I'm continuing? And your mind may tell various things, okay, this is not the correct practice, what's the purpose of doing this, it's not useful, I am bored, I am frustrated, let's go out, let's skip the session, or let's exit this, quit from the retreat. So the mind may tell various proposals, but your determination will safeguard you. So determination is the one telling you, okay, you have confirmed, you are determined to do this, now do it. So that's a kind of a strong determination that one needs to have, even when in the participating in a retreat. Now say, as we just discussed, even in sports, okay, you are quite determined, okay, I'm continuing. Suppose it's a marathon, a long run. So you are quite determined, okay, I'm going to finish the marathon. I'm not going to end up in the between, rather I'm going to finish it. I have to maintain the momentum throughout the running session. So similarly in the spiritual life also, now suppose you are quite determined to become a sotapanna, still nothing has happened, still you can't even maintain your mind on a single object, your mind is constantly distracted. So probably the situation is somewhat unfavorable. But you are quite determined, okay, in this very life, I'm going to become a Sotapan. So it's a kind of a strong determination governing us, driving us towards the goal. The goal may vary actually, the goal may evolve as we are continuing with the various other wisdom factors. But the determination is the one fairly helping us to continue. As the Buddha, now, when as a Bodhisattva Sumedha Tapasa, the hermit Sumedha, when he determined, okay, I am going to become the Samma Sambuddha. It's a kind of a strong determination he maintained, not just single lifetime, you can understand. Not just single lifetime. So many lifetimes he was quite determined, okay, I am going to be the Samma Sambuddha. So similarly, in the spiritual life also, irrespective of different difficulties that we encounter, we can determine, okay, I'm going to bear it, I'm going to endure this difficult situation, I'm going to continue my practice, I'm going to wake up early, I'm trying to adhere to the schedule. So likewise, we are determined. Now, when it comes to vipassana, we can go a little deeper in this vipassana, the determinations. Actually, very interesting findings are there. Buddha mentioned vipassana related determinations in four ways. Four determinations we can come across. Actually, this is available in the Dhatuvibhanga Sutta and again in the Sangiti Sutta. Four determinations are mentioned. Panyang napamajjaya, saccang anurakkeya, chagam bruheya, santi mevaso sikheya. So this is a very, very interesting area which we can discuss under determination in the Vipassana side. Panyang, so therefore it is called Panyadittanam. The first one is called Panyadittanam. Should not neglect the development of wisdom. Then Satchadittanam, should guard the truth. Then Chagadittanam, should cultivate relinquishment. Upasamadittanam, should train for peace. Now let's go through a little bit on each and every one. So Panyadittanam, should not neglect wisdom. Now, as practitioners, so we have to develop wisdom. So basically the insight. So the insight has to be developed in many different ways. So there are many different ways are available, and we should try at least one couple of methods. So the wisdom that Buddha is targeting, the wisdom that Buddha is aiming, is not the mundane book knowledge that we are talking here. So you can have, you can read so many books and you can accumulate a lot of knowledge, but that is not what mentioned here. And again, you can think, reflect on certain matters, and again you can develop some amount of wisdom, what you call chintamaya panya, reflective knowledge. And here particularly it is not the one discussing, rather kind of a experiential knowledge. So this experiential knowledge, the insight knowledge, is something that we have to purposely develop. It's very unlikely that we may born with that. Rather, we have to use Buddha's teaching, and with that, we have to develop this wisdom. So the insight practice is something that we have to purposely develop. So in order to do that, we need to maintain the morality, the sila foundation has to be there, the support has to be there, and again the necessary amount of samadhi, concentration has to be there. And with that, okay, now you are trying to recognize certain aspects of vipassana. So these aspects are not that interesting sometimes. So that's why we need to have certain determination. Okay, it doesn't matter that I'm not yet capable of doing it, but let me do it. Let me try it. Let me try it as much as possible. So with the development of the concentration and while maintaining proper morality, now you are trying to focus your attention onto various bodily parts. For example, you are reflecting, you are going through the kind of a body scanning, and you are trying to understand certain body parts, anatomical parts. So that's one way you are getting some understanding about the true nature of the body. Sometimes mind may complain, okay, I'm not interested in doing that, so I want to enjoy life. This is not the time to do it. Let me do it after taking pension. After becoming 60 years old, you can do it. So various proposals might come from your mind, but if you're determined, okay, I'm going to do it, I should not procrastinate developing this wisdom. Panyang napamajjaya means you should not neglect developing wisdom. So this wisdom, the insight wisdom that we are talking, has to be purposely initiated, purposely developed, and it requires fair amount of effort. Because what we are trying to observe is in a way based on suffering, based on unsatisfactoriness. So the necessary qualities have to be developed, and then with that necessary qualities like concentration, now you are doing kind of a continuous investigation into various phenomena. Now in this example, coming from the Dhatuvibhanga Sutta of Majjhima Nikaya, so Buddha say, okay, you need to understand the availability of different elements, how the earth element manifests, how water element manifests, how fire element manifests, and how air element manifests. So these things have to be practically recognized within ourselves. And as Bante Jnanarama mentioned, so these elements are talking using their language, and we need to learn their language. So when earth elements is considered, okay, it's the hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness. So this is the way it is represented. So we need to recognize these characteristics within ourselves. So if we consider the fire element, maybe heat, cool. So these are the characteristics how it represents. Now we need to recognize them. Now in a way, these are very boring activities. Those are not that interesting. Those are not really fascinating kind of experiences. But these are very mundane, boring type of experiences. But if you are determined, okay, I'm going to develop insights, so you are keeping that as a target, you are developing whatever the present activities, so that the possibility is there. You are maintaining the conducive environment so that later the insights may arise. Actually, this perspective may completely change as we are developing. At the moment, as a beginner, you are maintaining the determination. That very determination may evolve with time. So that's an interesting way of putting this. So Venerable Anand mentioned tanhang nissaya tanha pahatabbu. So using desire, you are going to abandon desire. Manang nissaya manam pahatabbu. Using conceit, you are going to overcome conceit. So kind of a contradictory statement, but it also has some value because you have a kind of a strong desire to suppose become a sotapan. So that strong desire become kind of a determination. Okay, I am determined to become a sotapan in this very life. So you have to go through certain difficult situations, maybe different obstacles, but your determination helps to continue. And again, let's assume that you are comparing yourself with another person. So you understood, okay, he is a person quite determined. He has achieved something. He has now developed certain amount of concentration, developed some amount of wisdom. So why can't I do it? So you're doing a kind of a comparison. Accordingly, you develop kind of a determination. Those are also possible. Later, of course, actually these things evolve, but at the beginning, this driving is necessary. Otherwise, we can't generate the necessary momentum. Otherwise, we can't generate the necessary amount of effort without this kind of a determination. Now, suppose if you involve with the say Dhatu Manasikara, say you understand okay various different elements. So this is one way of looking at the body and all the physical phenomena and understanding how they are available. What is their true nature? So their true nature you are trying to understand through investigation. Suppose you are practicing Anapanasati. So again and again you have to apply your mind, recognize the thought, recognize the breath. It's a kind of a boring activity, but you are quite determined. Okay, I'm going to continue at least half an hour. I'm going to watch the breath. I'm not going to stop in between. I'm not going to open my eyes and watch the clock in between. Till the alarm clock rings, I'm going to maintain my attention. So likewise, these little things actually matters in our early stages of the meditative life because our mind is very cheaty and filled with so many defilements, so many hindrances. It's quite difficult at the beginning. So determinations are really helpful in this situation. And one way of developing insights is what I have mentioned here, maybe using elements meditation, maybe using anapanasati, or maybe using vedana anupassana, maybe using chitta anupassana. So, okay, these are different ways, mechanisms available to develop wisdom because through investigation you are trying to understand their true nature. Again and again, you are keeping your attention to various phenomena, maybe bodily phenomena, maybe various feelings. Now you can recognize various perceptions, you can recognize various thoughts. So when you're objectively looking at them, now the insights are going to happen. It is not that you can purposely, deliberately arouse these insights. Rather, it's your duty to continue the practice, even though still you don't have tangible results. You need to continue the practice. And while you are continuing it, maybe time to time, certain eye opening insights can happen. So these are the insights that the Buddha mentioned, Panya Addhittana. So you have to determine, okay, I should not neglect developing this wisdom part. So this wisdom, the insights that you have gained, you have understood, will become kind of a protective shield in yourself. Later, when various defilements are popping up in the mind, so using this weapon of wisdom, you are going to attack. So without that weapon of wisdom, you can't do it. That's why it is necessary to first of all develop certain amount of inside knowledges, different insights within ourselves. That's why Buddha emphasized here. So don't neglect developing that wisdom. Don't neglect or procrastinate developing that wisdom. So you have to develop that wisdom as early as possible. So that's why sometimes we are not spending long time to develop jhana and all these things, because the vipassana knowledges are quite important and quite crucial to have. It also take long time. So in order to develop that, you need some time, you need fair amount of investing your time, engagement. And suppose if you are able to develop it, then you can later use it to overcome various defilements. Now maybe if you are practicing say Vedananupassana, so as you develop Vedananupassana, so probably uh, you can observe various kinds of feelings. Say pleasurable feelings are happening, then equanimous feelings are happening, painful feelings are happening, but you are determined to observe them rather than being attached to them, rather than being repelled by them. Okay, you are equanimously observing various different kinds of feelings, and as you are continuing it, then now the insights are arising. Insight means that internally you have a different perspective now. You're looking at them in a different viewpoint, different angle. Now you understand, okay, these different feelings are impermanent. So sukhanche vedanang vedeti sa anicchati pajana. So Buddha mentioned, so whenever you come across uh, say pleasurable feeling, you understand its impermanent nature. So this is a different way of looking at it. Previously, whenever we go through some pleasurable feeling, basically we didn't look at in this manner. Rather, we immediately absorbed it, we immediately elated by that, we've been driven by the feelings. But right now we are looking at feelings differently, so that you are not driven by feelings. Rather, you understand their nature, you understand their behavior through observation, through investigation. Now you have a proper understanding. Okay, they are like this, they behave like this. Okay, they are quite impermanent, I can't depend on them, they don't behave as I like. So these are the kind of perspective changes happening within yourself, the attitude changes within yourself. So it only happened through investigation. Again and again you are keeping your attention to various feelings, and through that investigation, okay, you understand, okay, they are like this. Now what happened? Now you are quite detached from them. Now you are not overwhelmed by pleasurable feelings or painful feelings. Rather, you can observe them while maintaining kind of a distance. Now you understand, okay, even though present feelings are going on, you are quite detached from them. Even though painful feelings are going on, you are quite detached from them. Even though equanimous feelings are going on, you are quite detached from them. So this is a kind of a uh, result of the development of wisdom. It is not that kind of a foolish kind of attitude. Rather, with by doing some continuous investigation, doing some continuous observation, you understood their true nature. So rather than you being attracted to them or repelled by them, you are now capable of looking at them objectively based on wisdom. So you can't have this kind of a practical approach without you yourself doing it. That is why it's so crucial to do it practically, involved in this practically. Then only we can say, okay, I haven't neglected this development of wisdom, rather I have invested fair amount of time, and now I can do it. Now mind has that capacity. Even though various bodily feelings are there, I can watch it as a distant observer. I am not that involved in these feelings, rather I can do a detached observation. So this is a kind of a result now you are enjoying. So this result is the what Buddha mentioned, don't neglect achieving it quickly. So you have to spend some time in your life doing it, and you are not procrastinating it, postponing it again and again. You are not neglecting it. At a given moment, okay, you participate in the retreat or whatever the way. Now you have developed that. You have developed that certain amount of insight. And say Buddha mentioned, so as we are continuing it now, actually I have taken Vedananupassana, maybe even Chittanupassana we can discuss this. So you are observing various thoughts, you are not driven by thoughts, you are not being deluded by thoughts, rather you are developing certain detached observation to various thoughts. So these are the insights now, the skills that we are developed. And as a result of that, now you are capable of having kind of a detachment. You are not grasping them now, you are not adhering to them now. They are there, but you are quite secluded from them. Various feelings are there, various thoughts are there, but you can maintain your mind secluded from them. The mind is not involved with them, mind is not attached to them, mind is not associating them, but mind maintain its integrity, mind maintain its seclusion and non-grasping state. So this is the kind of a result of the development of the wisdom. Now, but that is not the end. Then we are going to the Addhittana. Now, this non-grasping state of mind would say, okay, take it this as a nibbana, take this as the truth, because kind of emptiness is there, kind of say unconditioned nature is there. So your mind has found a different arena, different domain to sort of reside in. Previously it is always attached to some conditioned phenomena, always repelled by conditioned phenomena. So likewise so later mind understood they are kind of deceiving. Even though I expect some kind of happiness from this conditioned phenomena, it's not going to provide. They are not capable of giving it. So that's the insight that you got. As a result of that, now what happened? Now mind try to rest in that seclusion, its freedom. And now Buddha mentioned Satchaditthana. Now you need to determine, okay, I am now trying to living in that state of mind as much as possible. I'm going to familiarize with it. I'm going to keep my mind there so that my mind become fairly uh, competent in doing it. It is not, it may not happen immediately, because you know the the state of mind is quite boring at that time, because it doesn't have any excitement. Typically our mind like to stay in an excited state, kind of elated state, or even in a worried state. But here it's very much like you are in the neutral state, you are very much like in the baseline. So while you are there, so mind may sort of propose various things. Why can't I go to the excited state? Why can't I have a sort of blissful state? Why am I simply be in this equanimous state? This is quite boring. So the mind may even complain. So there we need to determine, okay, I'm just keeping this state. I don't need to get excited. So this is the kind of healthy state of mind. Now this is actually proved even by the modern science. It is not the worried state which is more healthy. It is not the excited, elated state more healthy. Rather, the equanimous state, uninvolved state of the mind is the most healthiest state of the mind. So this is even proven by the modern science. So the Buddha's practice, particularly this Vipassana practice, help us to achieve it. So once we achieve it, once we at least temporarily able to taste it, experience it. So Buddha mentioned, so you have to be there, you have to dwell there, because it is not something deceptive. All the conditioned phenomena are quite deceptive. They have the appearance like beautiful, they have the appearance like permanent, they have the appearance like you can control them. But later you understand, okay, they are beyond my control. They can't give me enough satisfaction, and they are not permanent, constantly changing. So they are quite deceptive. But on the other hand, this secluded area where mind is maintained at the emptiness, so that has nothing to gain, nothing conditioned to be deceptive. It is true that this also may collapse because of again attachment happens. That is because of the defilements of the mind. You get attached. As a result of that, you may lose this equanimous state. That's a different story. But while you are maintaining that equanimous state, unattached state, so there you have kind of a release. You have kind of a freedom. You are not associating any conditioned phenomena. So therefore Buddha mentioned, okay, take this as the Tadanga Nibbutī. At the moment, because of the availability of various insights, so I have earned this kind of a cessation, earned this kind of a calmness, tranquility, unattached state of mind. So Buddha mentioned, okay, you take this as the truth, as the temporary nibbana, and dwell there. You try to protect there that state. When mind drifts, again come back there. Assume that you are being distracted to something beautiful. Again mind go to the elated state. Again mind become quite pleasurable. But Buddha recommend coming back to this equanimous state. Rather than being in that excited state, you got to come back to this equanimous state. Suppose you have seen something or heard something which is not happy, rather it has made you really worried. So rather than worried, so Buddha asks us to return back to this equanimous state, to the middle state of the mind. Etam panitang yadidang upekha. Etam santang etam panitang yadidang upekha. Again and again, Buddha is taking us to this middle, taking us to the equanimity, unattached equanimity, which is developed, earned through vipassana. So tang satchang yang amosadamang nibbanang, and tasma evan samannagato bhikkhu imina paramena saccadittani samannagato hoti. So if you are able to again and again return to this state of mind, just not grasping, not conditioned, and say not associated, secluded from all the other distractions, so now we are developing a different domain in a way. And Buddha mentioned, when you are there, try to protect it, try to be there, try to dwell there. And then Chagaditthana. So while there, now what you got to do? Now you got to relinquish all the other distractions. So those distractions are the sense stimuli. Say while you are there, you feel bored, and now kind of a say song what you have enjoyed may come to your mind. Now you need to let it go. So while you are in that equanimous state, kind of a movie, kind of a something beautiful that you have seen probably can come to the mind. You got to relinquish it. So we need to cultivate this relinquishment right now. So this is a kind of an equilibrium that we are maintaining in our mind. So if we consider all these four determinations, so kind of an equilibrium, like you are maintaining a tool or a table using four legs. So this is the state of mind that we are maintaining based on these four determinations. Now, should cultivate relinquishment. Now, previously, probably I have developed various, say, designations, certain identifications. I myself, strong, I feeling strong ego, strong conceit, and that would the mention now you recognize it's not necessary. You don't need to be a kind of a show off. You don't need to prepare that kind of a personality view. Rather, abandon that personality view. So it's not only that sights, sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles, and thoughts that we have to relinquish. Even the subtle conceit I am, the I feeling, I am the one, I am the best. Always getting this I feeling. So how one can even abandon that, relinquish that? So that becomes the most subtlest level of abandonment, subtlest form of relinquishment. So that's why Buddha mentioned Paramo Ariyo Chago, Yadidam Sabbupati Patinisaggo. So we are having various attributes, various conditions, causes and conditions to prepare I, to prepare a person. Say you have a lot of good education, you have your skills, you have your children, you have your parents, you have your designation, you have your social status, your upbringing, your culture. So all these are different indications to build a strong person. It is necessary actually. At the beginning, it is necessary. But while at this stage, you understand, okay, how I can avoid eye making because of this. It is not that you are going to become a beggar and lose everything. Rather, while you have all these things, whenever mind tells, okay, you are a this person, you are a that person, you have this, you have that, and trying to confirm a personality, trying to fool you as a person, trying to condition the mind based on I conceit. So that has to be relinquished. It has become a very subtle way of relinquishment. It is not that you are relinquishing lust, it is not that you are relinquishing hatred, but rather when a certain thought coming and telling you, okay, you are the best person, you are the one who did it, then how one can overcome that thought, kind of a thought which is trying to affirm self view, a thought trying to come and uh, tell there's a person here, trying to prepare ourselves. So those kind of thoughts, if one can abandon, so that Buddha mentioned that's the best way of abandonment, best way of relinquishment. And the last one is called Upasamadittanam. So that is basically keeping the mind pure. Pure in the sense you are trying to abandon all the lustful thoughts, abandon all the hateful thoughts, abandon all the deluded thoughts. Now you can see while maintaining in that Chagaditthana, while maintaining in that say unattached, uninvolved, free state of mind. So these are the other defilements. There's a possibility of other defilements to pop up, and when they are popping up, say a lustful thought come, and you need to abandon it. A hateful thought, thought of ill will may come. You need to abandon it. A jealousy thought come. You need to abandon it. So likewise, it's a matter of purification. So basically, when we were ignorant previously, we overwhelmed by various anger, ill will, resentment, revenge, revengeful thoughts, that kind of things. Now I am abandoning that. So previously I have a lot of lustful thoughts, a lot of desires, lot of determinations. Even that now I am letting go. Now you can see, even though the determination was quite helpful, quite crucial in the previous stages, now when you are coming to the fairly advanced states of the vipassana, So you understand now determinations are also not necessary. Determinations are also a kind of a ambition available in the mind. Let me even abandon that. But first of all, remember that we need to achieve it. We have to come to the fair crux of the practice, and then only we can understand, okay, these determinations are not necessary now. These desires are not necessary. Now mind is capable of maintaining its freedom. So let me keep the mind free from any of the determinations. So determinations sort of constrict the mind at that level, because now mind has opened, now mind has fully blossomed. So at that state you can abandon various determinations as well, because you have achieved what is necessary. So therefore you can see it's a very beautiful subject, Addhittana. And this is what actually I need to share with you. And with that, I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Now I like to open the session for questions, so we can go into the mindful practice, mindful sitting practice. I think, Shalika, since there is no question, we'll spend few minutes in mindful sitting.
Yeah, then after that, they will come up with some questions, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, then we can sit in a comfortable position. Keep your head straight, neck straight, shoulders in a relaxed position. Arms may be resting on your lap. You can keep your upper half of the body straight. And keep yourself relaxed. So we are not going to do a difficult task. Rather, we are trying to open up ourselves to the present moment. We are trying to fully aware of the present moment. So various sounds are available right now. I am in a city environment today, so I can hear various sounds of vehicles, and I can hear various sounds coming from birds chirping, and probably you also can hear various sounds, and we just accept them. We just hear them, and we are not hating them, we are not resisting them. These sounds simply come and go. So we can keep a very open mind, because we don't know from which direction these sounds are coming. So our mind is very much like receptive, kind of a 360-degree reception available in the mind. Now we can come back to the body. We can take a long breath, keep it for a while, and then release. Again, we can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and then release. You can recognize what I am going to mention. Your eyes are gently closed. There could be a slight sensation at your eyes. Lips are gently touching. Again, there's a soft sensation at your lips, and you are quite relaxed, not thinking any particular problem right now. Therefore, you can't have any wrinkles on your forehead or in your eyebrows. Your face overall has to have a very relaxed position. Facial tissues, facial muscles are quite relaxed, no tension. If you like, you can have a slight smile because we are trying to enjoy the present moment, fully open up ourselves to the present moment. Again, we can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and then release. And we can recognize the touching sensations of the clothes. Certain places are a little tight, certain places are touching, maybe little discomfort. Clothes are touching the body. And we are keeping our shoulders in a relaxed position. Arms may be resting on our lap, and there's no tension in the arms as well. And as we move down, probably we can recognize rising and falling of the abdomen. As we further move down, we can recognize some pressure at our buttocks. Thigh muscles are relaxed, calf muscles are relaxed. So if there is any tension at your leg muscles, you can release it so that you overall get a very relaxed posture. Now we can keep our attention at the breath. So when in breath happens, we recognize it. When out breath happens, we recognize it. So we are very much like focusing our attention closer to the nostril so that we can recognize in breath and also we can recognize out breath. So we assign a little task to the mind not to miss any in breaths or out breaths, rather trying to recognize each in breath, each out breath in a very relaxed manner. Now, if we are able to establish mindfulness, we can carefully observe each in breath, each out breath, recognizing its subtle characteristics, whether in breath is longer or shorter, warmer or cooler, whether out breath is warmer or cooler, longer or shorter. So these very subtle aspects we are now trying to comprehend. So our clear comprehension improves. So breath being a very subtle object, if we are able to understand its very subtle characteristics, our skills to look at something very closely, investigate very closely, Dhamma Sambojjhanga, now going to develop. And if mind is capable of looking at these things as mere element characteristics, now we can ignore certain typical labels like in breath, out breath. Rather, we can now pay attention to the subtle element characteristics, roughness, smoothness, maybe lightness, heat, cold. Now we are trying to recognize these subtle characteristics. And if they are evident within the body, throughout the body, that also we can recognize. If mind is quite focused, concentration is available, now we are observing them very carefully, investigating each and every element characteristic, keeping the mind very quiet, silent observation. Okay, I think we have come to the end of the program. So, if any one of you have any thing to share, if you like to share your experiences, or if you have anything to clarify with respect to the today's Dhamma sermon, uh, then please feel free to ask.
If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Bhante, I have a question actually. If someone, until someone come up with that question,
Yeah.
this is what I have experienced, like in life. Like in our lay life, we have, we have some goals, right? We put like
Mhm.
determination and all the efforts to achieve it. It is kind of a timed, so we know, like as you said, it's an exam. It may be like some achievement. So once it's done, we know it's going to be ending, and then we put the effort and we achieve it. But in the practice, this is something we have to do continuously.
Hmm.
So with like our family obligations and commitments, yeah, put the determination. Okay, I'm going to do that, I'm going to practice this, like that. And with when everything else comes into our plate, and I lose the track, basically I lose it, my whether I put a determination and the effort. So how, in such a situations, how can we, get that determination back again, and putting the effort. I feel like it's a mindfulness play a big role in there, and if you can just give me some suggestions, would be really good. How can
Yeah.
I motivate myself and do the practice basically?
Yeah, correct. Actually, as you mentioned that in the lay life, so we have so many other duties, many responsibilities. So and sometimes we can't stick to our schedule because sometimes if we get into something, say our children's situation or the parent situation, sometimes it may we have to invest more time. So when we can't probably come back early at home, so we are spending time on that particular place. So like this, likewise these practical problems may definitely happen once you come back home. So are we going to take long rest, or are you going to catch what we have lost? Because we already understood, okay, I have invested a lot of time on this thing, and now I'm going to lose my determination if I am not adhering to it. It's true that I am now late for the practice for 1 hour, doesn't matter. But if I have a little bit of relaxed time right now, let me use that wisely. So actually we can do little adjustments to our schedule. It doesn't mean that we have to 100% we can do a kind of a say implement kind of a martial law here. So rather very much like we understood, okay, I also have certain shortcomings. I also sometimes don't want to diligently practice. So I'm now a little bit forgiving about it to myself. So maybe a little bit of self-compassion may be involved, but still certain inner urging is there. Okay, I need to practice. So this is the method. So I need to, as Buddha mentioned, panyang napa majjaya. So if it comes to vipassana, so developing of this wisdom should not be neglected, should not be postponed, because once we have that amount of understanding, so based on which we have to further develop. So first of all, we need to therefore have all these different skills developed into ourselves. Then it's a matter of familiarizing them. It's a matter of developing proficiency with them, very much like we are going to the real war thing. Actually, say you are in a war situation and you have to participate in. So before going to the war, first of all you need to have a fair amount of good training. So here what Buddha mentioned here is very much like that training. So don't get neglect that training. So once you are well trained, now you can get into the real practice. So actually, it is not that we are going to abandon all the mundane household life, household activities, and fully dedicate ourselves into the practice. Rather, at the beginning, we may be very much like struggling how to incorporate practice into the household life. As you mentioned, mindfulness practices are quite helpful, particularly the daily activities. Trying to be mindful on daily activities is quite useful. and later assume that you are dedicating yourself, you are participating into retreats, and so that you are taking yourselves to some extent, to some level. Suppose you are now capable of maintaining yourselves in that non-grasping state of mind at least for some time. So while being there, you can now investigate more time in the typical activities. What I want to mention is, only at the beginning you have to have lot of effort, lot of involvement into development of the mental skills, spiritual faculties, these with knowledges. So that requires, as you know, a fair amount of investment of your time. But later, once you are equipped with them, now you can use them at every environment. Suppose while at office, so you are equipped with these mental skills, and you can apply them into various office situations. Say at your home, at your family environment, still you are equipped with these insights and all the spiritual qualities, and you can use them effectively in your family environment as well. It is not something different from ourselves, it's not completely sort of foreign to us. Rather, they become part of yourself. So you are incorporating all these spiritual skills what you have developed into yourself. So they are the ones now very much like guiding you how to confront such a situation, how to overcome a situation, how to face a particular challenge, how to strengthen yourself when a family problem happens, how to find a proper solution. So likewise, all these spiritual qualities are not apart from us, away from us. Rather, they become part and parcel of ourselves. They become quite incorporated to ourselves. So now they are really helping us. So at the beginning, we can't really find out what is the direct link. But later we understand, okay, it's true that I have spent fair amount of time onto these things. But later, now you are capable of using them as tools, as sort of guiding principles, directions in your own life. Therefore, it's not a kind of waste of time, or it is not really a completely different investment. Rather, it's a kind of an investment that you are doing for your whole life, your spiritual life, and not only to the spiritual life, even to the mundane life. Yeah.
Thank you, Bante. Thero Sallai.